Breaking news tonight, a federal judge issues a new two-part ruling in the case of a Kentucky county clerk who is not issuing marriage licenses.
A former Kentucky woman now faces abuse charges in Michigan. Police say she starved her disabled sister and kept her in a closet.
So I always allude ginseng to adult Easter egg hunting.
It's becoming more popular in Kentucky, but ginseng hunting also has some people concerned about the plant's future.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good evening. A new twist tonight in the case of a county clerk who stopped issuing marriage licenses. Late this afternoon, a federal judge denied a stay on the injunction that ordered Kim Davis to issue the licenses.
But he also issued a temporary stay on his ruling so an appeals court can look over the case. Sean Moody's at the live desk with more on what this all means. He's sorting it out right now. Sean?
Hey there, Sam and Jennifer. Yeah, this is a pretty interesting wording in this ruling. Judge David Bunning wrote in the ruling that a stay pending Kim Davis's appeal was not warranted and that her motion for a stay was denied. But then, in the very next sentence, the judge puts a temporary stay on his own order pending a review by the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. The ACLU sued Davis last month after she refused to issue marriage licenses following the Supreme Court's ruling legalizing same-sex marriage nationwide. She says being forced to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples violates her religious freedoms. Last week, Judge Bunning issued an injunction ordering Davis to issue the licenses. She did not and filed an appeal and requested a stay on the injunction so that she would not have to issue the licenses while the lawsuit is still in court. In today's ruling, Bunning would not grant that stay, saying that the factors he considers all weigh in favor of denying it, then says that because there are constitutional issues involved and because emotions on both sides of this debate are running high, he put a temporary stay on his own order denying Davis's stay. Now, I know that's a convoluted ruling, but the bottom line here is that it appears for now Davis will not have to issue any licenses until the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals reviews the case. At the live desk, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Sean, thank you. It is a disturbing case. Police in Michigan arrested a former Kentucky woman they say kept her disabled sister locked in a closet.
Police have charged Candy Lawson with abuse. They say her sister was malnourished and dehydrated when they found her. And tonight, police believe the abuse might have started when Lawson and her sister were living in Frankfurt. Monique Blair is tracking the investigation in our top story at 6.
Candy Lawson owned a tattoo shop here in Franklin County before she moved to Michigan. Michigan investigators say Lawson's sister had been abused for several years, so now they're trying to figure out exactly where that abuse started because Lawson has only lived in Michigan for about a year. Michigan police say Candy Lawson's 42-year-old sister, who has cognitive and physical impairments, was locked in a closet suffering from malnourishment and dehydration, weighing around 74 pounds when police found her. Police believe she was kept in that state for several years.
It was shocking. I mean, I was like, I don't know what to do with it. I still don't know what to do with it because I'm like, she talked to me about her sister before. I knew she had a sister. I knew her sister, you know, was handicapped or something, you know, and she always talked about going back home, you know, because she had to go help take care of her sister and spend time with her sister and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm just as surprised as everybody else.
Raymond Russell lives in Frankfurt and tells me he worked side by side Candy Lawson for more than a year at the tattoo shop she owned. He says hearing this news is hard for him to believe.
She was always nice to me. She was nice to my kids, nice to my ex-wife. I mean, she was pretty much like family to us. I mean, when I started working for her, it was like boom. We were instant friends and just instantly got close.
Franklin County Sheriff Pat Melton says his office did respond to some complaints at the home Lawson lived, but he says none of those issues involved Candy Lawson's sister. In Franklin County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Police say Lawson's sister was in the hospital for about a week before being placed in protective custody.
New tonight, investigators are on the scene of a deadly crash in southern Kentucky. It happened this afternoon on US 127 in Clinton County. That's about a mile north of the Tennessee state line. The Clinton County coroner says the crash involved a dump truck and 2 pickups. This is video just into our newsroom from the scene. The coroner did not say how many people were killed in this crash. Investigators are still trying to figure out what caused it. We'll have more on the crash tonight on WKYT at 11. A central Kentucky man accused of posing as a wounded Marine to receive a service dog didn't show up for his arraignment in court today. So a Fayette district judge issued a bench warrant for Jeffrey Alcorn. Police charged Alcorn with 2 counts of theft by deception. Now, there is a Jeffrey Alcorn listed in critical condition at a Richmond hospital, but we have not been able to confirm if that's the same man. Police say that Alcorn gave 2 organizations false documents to get a plane ride to Georgia to pick up a service dog. Investigators say he claimed to be a wounded Marine and needed the dog for PTSD.
Tonight, rain is falling across much of the bluegrass, and it's the beginning of what could be a wet week. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey shows us what he's tracking on the First Alert Defender. Chris?
Yeah, after a little bit of a break in the action over the past week and a half or so, we're back into that pattern to where additional rounds of showers and storms are back in the bluegrass. Say today's action, especially centered across southern and eastern parts of the area. And look at the number it's doing on the temperatures. 72 Richmond and Danville. We're barely getting out of the upper 60s in some cases across southern Kentucky with the low clouds and the rain that is out there. A little warmer in the north, but Defender now lighting up with all kinds of locally heavy downpours here across southern parts of the area. From Rockcastle County back toward the south and southwest, Monticello, and into sections of the Lake Cumberland area. Steadier rains now showing up just to the east of downtown Richmond across most of the Mountain Parkway corridor into Powell County, Irvin, Estill County, and points south and southwest from there. Lexington area to sprinkle here or there. Some steadier rains to our east and southeast, and that'll be the trend if you're out and about as we go through the evening hours. But the overall flow for the next few days, tropical juice coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, will lead to additional rounds of showers and some thunderstorms as we track yet another fall cold front, guys, with the hour-by-hour forecast when I come back here in a little under 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chris. FEMA has opened a disaster recovery center in Johnson County to help people affected by last month's deadly flash flooding. It comes less than a week after President Obama declared a disaster in Johnson County. FEMA workers are there to help flood victims apply for federal assistance. The center is off Tees Branch Road in Paintsville and is open Monday through Saturday from 9 until 7.
Today, a federal judge in Frankfort heard arguments during a hearing for a First Amendment lawsuit filed by a nationally syndicated newspaper columnist. John Roseman's column runs in the Lexington Herald-Leader, among many other newspapers. Now, 2 years ago, the state attorney general filed a cease and desist order against John Roseman because the Kentucky Psychology Board says Roseman is not licensed to practice in Kentucky. The attorney representing the board says Roseman's advice is narrowly focused, and there's no tagline saying he's licensed out of North Carolina. So Roseman filed a lawsuit claiming his First Amendment rights are being violated.
The government doesn't get to micromanage the way people use occupational titles across state lines. If that were true, the government could silence Dr. Phil or Dr. Laura or Dr. Oz or even Dr. Ruth.
The judge did not rule on the lawsuit today. It could be several weeks before he issues a ruling. For now, Roseman's advice column can still be published in the Herald-Leader.
Construction on Fayette County's newest high school may soon be on hold. A problem with a permit means work cannot start at the site along Winchester Road. The city says they cannot approve the building permit contractor D.W. Milburn is asking for because there are still some questions about the high school and its location. They want to talk about where the district plans to put the main entrance to the school and how they'll deal with an increase in traffic during the start and end of the school day.
These are often some of the major discussions with just about any development in town. It's just one that's just become a little more public, and we hope that we can deal with it pretty quickly.
The city says if the traffic problem can be resolved during their meeting with the district and the contractor, they will issue the building permit. They're meeting Wednesday afternoon.
Last year, hunters harvested about 20,000 pounds of ginseng in Kentucky. Ginseng hunts have become much more popular during the last few years. And while that's a good thing for buyers, it's also concerning for people who want to make sure the plant stays around for generations to come. New at 6, Miranda Combs takes us on a hunt for ginseng.
Paid for many bicycles, many college tuition, many Christmas gifts.
We can't tell you where we are.
Everybody's got their own way they see it.
But we can tell you what we're looking for.
If you've got natural woodlands on your property, it has to have shade. So
Anna Lucio took us down a grass-covered path and into the woods.
Now the first rule of ginsenging is we don't talk about the ginseng.
Before we search,
you can see kind of the whole cycle of ginseng.
Here's what we're looking for.
Okay.
A plant that looks like this. State law says if you are going to take it from the ground, it has to be at least a 3-pronged plant.
When they're mature, They'll be really, really red.
Or have 5 years of age so it's mature enough to produce berries.
These seeds take 1 to 2 years to germinate.
I'm just out here taking what God's gave us. You know, what's out here in the mountains is ours.
You may have seen it here, too.
Apparently it was some thieves that I could get some of my money back from the poachers that took it from me.
Where the root has gone from underground to mainstream.
Big 3 or 4. And in 6 to 8 years, you'd add another big root like this.
With the popularity of ginseng, is there any worry that it will become obsolete?
Well, unless we have good stewardship of ginseng, good harvest, you know, that affects it. If you are digging out of season, if you're not letting your berries mature, you know, those things are things that impact the ginseng plant.
Lucio is with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture.
You can start looking. We're a little bit away from it, but
they keep track of ginseng and record the harvest for every county.
And this is actually a trail.
Last year's state harvest weighed in at 20,000 pounds.
You're close.
This one.
Yes.
Yay! Okay. So that is a ginseng plant.
That is a ginseng plant.
We can't dig out the root right now because it's out of season. The legal harvest season starts September 1st and runs through December 1st.
Or actually it's a 3-prong, I'm sorry. 5 leaflets, and you got the 2 on the back and the 3 on the front. And if you open it up, you've got a beautiful little seed cluster in there.
If you haven't noticed,
did you see this guy? That's a ginseng up underneath there.
She cares about this.
You gotta love to play in the dirt for this.
Lucio grew up on land like this.
In times of lean, if you take care of the ginseng, it will take care of you.
She can spot ginseng with the best of them.
And the first time I went to a woods and, oh, there's one. There's that excitement that you can be able to find it. And even if you've seen a million, I think you would still be like, oh, found one.
A pound of ginseng roots these days will get you anywhere from $600 to $650. A profitable business if you've got a good eye and are willing to wait.
Out-of-season harvest is concerning, and you know we want to have policies and we want to have good diggers and growers out there that are cultivating it and putting those berries back and harvesting when ginseng needs to be harvested so that we can have it for the next generation.
In Kentucky, most ginseng is found east of I-75, but the state has reported harvests in every county in Kentucky. If you're going to buy and sell ginseng in the state, you need a license from the State Department of Agriculture. Interesting.
Yeah, it is. Does Kentucky produce quite a bit of it? Because you mentioned thousands and thousands of pounds in 1 year.
20,000 last year, and Anna was saying the lowest she's seen, and she's been there a while, was 9,000. So it's been going on for generations.
Miranda, thank you.
Thanks.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
New tonight, Kentucky U.S. Senator and presidential candidate Rand Paul says he will pay for a proposed Republican presidential caucus here in Kentucky.
Senator Paul says he has already contributed $250,000, and he's promised to pay another $200,000. Kentucky Republican leaders are scheduled to vote Saturday on rules for the proposed caucus. It would be held March 5th. If Republicans switch from a primary to a caucus, it would allow Senator Paul to run for president and seek re-election to his Senate seat. Right now, a state law bans candidates from appearing on a ballot twice.